Good afternoon, guys. Aaron Dorr here with Iowa Gun Owners. It is Saturday afternoon, right around 10 minutes to 2 right now here at the Iowa State Capitol. We're on the west steps right now where this great big gun control rally is taking place. I'm going to kind of turn off to the side a little bit, let you guys see some of the crowd we're dealing with here today. Of course, it's snowing here. The weather sucks, to be honest, and right now, so I'm not sure what the crowd is going to end up being. But, you know, guys, this is a very mobilized crowd here, and they just finished their big chanting. They're going to start again here in a few minutes when their first actual speaker kicks off. But they want to ban everything that you and I care about. They want to ban AR-15s. They want to ban high-capacity magazines. They call them, of course, we call them standard, 30-round magazines. They want to have universal firearms registration here in Iowa. Of course, it's the idea that if you want to sell a firearm, heck, if you want to give a firearm to your friends, to your family, to your grandson, you have to go through a government background check process first and add your name to a government database. So, guys, this is some of the crowd we're seeing here behind us. I'm going to stand to the side right now, let you guys just kind of take a look at this. We've got about, I'd say, maybe 300 people here right now. The crowd is still arriving because the event kicks off in about 5 more minutes officially. But, guys, we need gun owners in this state to get involved in this fight because these guys are not going away. They're getting more mobilized. And I've been doing gun rights politics here in Iowa now since December of 2008, December of 8, and I've never seen a rally against our freedoms, against our gun rights in the state in all that time. So things are changing here now in Iowa, and that's part of why our bill has been stalled out so far this session on constitutional carry. So we need you guys to get involved in this fight and do so here right away. Let you guys get a look at some of these signs we got here. We got the president is FUBAR. We've got a whole bunch of different stuff I really can't repeat because we have kids, my kids, in fact, who are me watching this broadcast. A whole lot of different types of signs here from folks who are furious about your right to keep and bear arms. What's amazing is that I had some folks ask me a few months ago, why do you guys care so much about this issue? Why do you guys oppose their common sense gun control? Of course, first of all, their common sense gun control isn't common sense at all. They want to ban firearms. They want to ban accessories. They want to ban all these things. And I told them a few moments ago, the situation in Maryland is a classic example of what happens when we have gun control that takes effect. Maryland, the school shooting there on Tuesday, highlights the absurdity of all of this. It highlights the fact that gun control is never the solution. Gun control never stops violent crime. Gun control does not impact public safety for the positive because all it does is disarm you and I. The school, of course, in Maryland, you guys know this. The school in Maryland, the shooting that took place there on Tuesday, Maryland is already a gun control haven. They have a complete ban on the AR-15 and 50 of its clones. They have universal firearms registration already in place in Maryland. They've got a ban on mags holding over 10 rounds of ammo. They have a 7-day waiting period, when it comes to buying handguns in Maryland. They've got it all. They have it all. And it didn't stop anything in that shooting on Tuesday in Maryland. What did stop that shooter was what? It was an armed officer on site who had his firearm, who stepped up and defended those kids. That's the story you're not going to hear from this crowd here today and from the news across the state and across the country because that does not fit the narrative that these gun grabbers want to project into the situation here in Iowa and across the country. So we've got to kind of pause here for a moment. You guys see the crowd again. We got a couple hundred folks here right now all lining up. We've got a lot of folks here who are screaming that they don't want to have any more, no more bodies. Of course, we agree with that. Every gun owner agrees with that. That's why gun owners carry firearms, to defend ourselves, defend our loved ones, and to defend those around us. That's what happens when you have an armed population. When you disarm the people, right, when you disarm the good guys, does it ever stop the bad guys? Of course not, and we all know that. So again, we're going to kind of pause here as this crowd gets going. They're going to start here, they said, in about 3 minutes with their speakers. And just pause for a moment here so you guys see some of the signs and stuff. Awful lot of folks that don't have a basic understanding about the impact of gun control. And of course, history is replete with this. We know what happens when a population gets disarmed. We know what happens when the good guys can't fight back. And so Iowa gun owners is never going to back down in the face of these threats. We're never going to back down from the face of lawmakers who want to take away your right to keep and bear arms or aspects thereof. And we need you guys, if you're not already a member of IGO, to get involved in this fight. We've pinned our membership link link to the top of this video. We need you guys to get involved. David says they have no clue what the guns they're trying to ban. That is correct. They don't know what semi-automatic means, what full automatic means. They have no idea. Patty Hodges, I wonder how many people there are not even Iowans. Well, we just don't know. There's lots of out-of-state license plates that we saw here in the parking lot as we were driving around getting a parking spot. We have seen some great gun owners out here, though, the good guys who are trying to protect, who want to come out here and protest and make sure they know that gun owners are proud of our gun rights here in Iowa. Rodney McVeigh says, are you in Des Moines? Yes, this is in Des Moines right now. I'm on the west steps of the Iowa Capitol complex. The rally here is just getting going here behind me. Pause here for a few moments. You know, I've seen lots of rallies here in the Capitol over the last 10 years here working on behalf of IGO. I've seen rallies for folks who want to have more pay. I've seen rallies for all kinds of issues. I've never seen people rally to try to have their own rights taken away. That's happening right now here in Des Moines. So I need you guys again to get involved in this fight. Julia says it's a blizzard of ignorance. That is correct. Got some folks here off to the side who are trying to get some 15 minutes of fame. Speakers haven't begun yet, so we'll let you guys hear some of that when you get going. Of course, again, all the gun control these people want to have has already failed to stop violent crime. Just this past week, just this week, Tuesday, in Maryland, all the gun control they have, all of the issues that they want to have passed here in the law in Iowa, didn't stop the violent crime that took place just a couple days ago in Maryland. And so that's the issue we have here, is that when you disarm the population, you take guns away from law-abiding citizens, only the bad guys have them. And that's why we're going to oppose any attempt to ban gun rights here in the state of Iowa. And hope you guys keep involved in that fight. We have a lot of people here who are trying to take away your freedoms. A lot of folks here who don't want to, go ahead, come on up. That's fine. You can have it be seen. You know that gun control didn't stop the shooting in Maryland on Tuesday, right? That didn't stop the shooter on Tuesday. What did stop that shooter was a cop with a gun. Did you know that? Okay, just want to make sure you were aware of that. So guys, again, this is going on right now today here in Des Moines. The crowd is growing. We got ballots, not bullets. It's a sign I'm seeing right now. Ballots, not bullets. I don't know about you guys, but when my kids are under attack, when my family is under attack, I don't want to fight back with ballots. I want to have the right to fight back with bullets. If you guys agree with me, give me a big thumbs up on that, because this is absolutely absurd. What they're asking for here will not save innocent people. All it does is disarm the good guys and leave us more vulnerable to the attacks of a madman. We all know that. Billy says, I will not give up my gun rights without a hell of a fight. Well, we agree, and that fight right now starts here, and it's political right here in Iowa. So get involved in this fight. Of course, you already are, Billy. We understand that. We appreciate that. If you guys aren't yet a member of IGO, though, now is your chance to do so. Again, see some of the crowd here behind us. Growing crowd here. We're going to have the speakers begin here. They're saying in about 2 or 3 minutes, so we'll give you guys some live updates when that happens. But the signs here are just absolutely not dealing with reality. The signs they want to disarm people. They want to take away 30-round magazines. They want to take away the AR-15s. And these are not the issues that are causing school shootings. What happens is evil, violent, twisted people take advantage of gun-free zones, as they did just this week on Tuesday at that school in Maryland, and walk in there and commit a mass tragedy, or they tried to do so. And of course, he did kill one individual before he was shot and killed by an officer himself. So thank God the officer was there to protect the rest of those students and the teachers who were in that classroom. Guys, I'm going to attach a battery pack to my phone here for a moment. I'm going to step away from the phone for just a moment, watch the crowd, read some of the signs. I'm going to get some power going on my phone. More to come here in just a moment. All right, guys, got some power going on my phone. Let's see, reading some of the comments here, trying to scroll through them here. Melinda says, keep our Second Amendment rights. We agree. That's why we're down here right now, guys, to make sure that gun owners know what's going on. This is not a gun rights does not exist in a vacuum. We're either gaining ground or we're losing ground. We need to make sure that gun owners are making their voices heard, pouring phone calls and emails into the Capitol, and to make sure that our gun rights do not suffer. We got one comment that says, do you believe that the kids have organized this? Absolutely not, guys. In fact, we have some information to pass on. Once I get my gloves on my hand here, it's kind of getting cold out here, so give me just a moment. Now we have a press release here from Michael Bloomberg's organization himself. They've dumped in millions of dollars to coordinate these rallies all across the country today. Millions and millions of dollars from Bloomberg that have been poured into these rallies to make them happen here in Iowa and across the country. It's not just Michael Bloomberg either. All kinds of liberal, snotty elites like George Clooney, and I think it's Oprah Winfrey, and many others who are out there trying to force their agenda, their lifestyle choices, and their worldview down our throats, who have all contributed millions of dollars to try to help shut down your right to defend yourself. That's who's sponsoring rallies like this right now here in Des Moines and across the country. We know that it's a public thing. If you want to be seen, come on in. That's fine. You don't have to hide on the side. Okay, just want to make sure. And so again, all the things they're pushing for here today here in Iowa and across the country have already been proven to be an utter complete failure. Their press releases, they want to pass a law to ban the AR-15 and their types of firearms. AR-15s are used so rarely in crime, it's ridiculous. What they are used in many times is by homeowners, it's by shopkeepers, by business owners to defend themselves against armed robberies, violent crime, home invasions, and more. Do you want to talk?
To ban AR-15s. Great. My son's a surgeon in Chicago, and the emergency rooms, they bring a gunshot wound in there.
Sure.
If it's a kid or whatever, you get a high velocity shot like that through the organ. That organ is polarized. There's nothing to repair. We need a ban on them. They're weapons of war. They're made for only one purpose.
We don't want to let the criminals have them and not have the good guys have. That's all you're going to do if you ban them, because the criminals aren't going to give theirs up. All you're going to do is disarm the good guys, because it's the good guys that follow the law.
They're going to go into a school with a guy that's in the school with an AR-15, and then
the good guys stop
everybody will shoot, and the whole school will be carrying ambulance loads and loads of kids to school. We need to defend our kids. We need to protect our kids and ban those.
We agree, and it was the good guy with the gun at the school in Maryland who stopped that shooter just on Tuesday. There's thousands of examples with a good guy with a firearm. Come stand on the camera.
He was a well-trained sheriff's deputy.
Right, but why should my family be disarmed if I'm at home, or if I'm at my office, or if I'm out with my loved ones? Why do you want to disarm us?
I've got 5 guns at home. I'm not disarming anybody.
Are you on the pro-gun side or the anti-gun side then?
There's no pro or anti. It's well-regulation.
They want to take away AR-15s. They want to take away 30-round magazines. They want to have universal firearms registration. They want it all.
Good training for somebody that's going to use an AR-15.
Yeah, gun owners seek that training.
If somebody wants to use one of those type of weapons, they can join our military. That is what our Constitution. Thomas Jefferson.
So gun rights only apply to the military. We are a free people. We have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear firearms, and we're not going to give that up. If we disarm our people, if we disarm good guys, only bad guys are going to have firearms.
I'm saying disarm bad guys, because it's the bad guys that are using these weapons to kill people.
And every single day, good guys with firearms. I'm sorry.
AR-15 weapons are killers.
Right.
Are you talking about the good guy that brought his gun to school?
The shooting in Texas.
And shot
the shooting, for example, in Texas last December, there was 2 AR-15s involved. One in the hands of a madman, one in the hands of a good guy.
Did the good guy need that?
Did you want him to kill all of them? Did you want him to kill? Let the bad guy have the final say?
What's that good guy from the military?
That good guy was.
Did he have military?
I have no idea.
Yes,
but that guy with an AR-15 was able to stop the bad guy with an AR-15.
Stop the bad guy with a shotgun or a regular rifle.
That's absolutely absurd. Shooting across the street into a crowded building, you want to have a shotgun? Do you know what that even means?
He
was in the church. Why do you want to limit the options that we don't?
He was not in the church.
He shot into the church to stop the bad guy in Texas.
No,
so you had two AR-15s.
If he shot into the church, then I do not want him to have a weapon.
My point is,
he did not shoot into the church. He shot into
my point is, was one AR-15 good and one AR-15 bad? Or we're with Iowa gun owners.
No, it's about the regulation of who has.
Absolutely.
I'm an Iowa gun owner.
Good. Okay, well, that's your prerogative. Our organization does not support the infringement of our rights in any capacity, and we're not going to support this. This is what's going on here, guys, in Des Moines right now. You guys need to get involved. I'm sorry. We support freedom. Absolutely.
It's all about
What's that? We should have the same firearms the military has. We don't support any gun control, any infringements of any kind. Because when you disarm,
why don't you join the military?
when you disarm good guys, only the bad guys are going to have.
Thomas Jefferson wrote several.
What's that?
You're against the Constitution.
Yes.
Absolutely not. The Second Amendment.
If you
Second
believe there should be
Amendment.
no
Absolutely
regulation,
not. When you disarm good guys, only the bad guys are going to have firearms. That's the reality of gun control. We've seen that all across the country. I don't sell firearms. Our organization, our members care about the freedom that comes from the Second Amendment. What's that?
Are you a volunteer?
I work full time for Iowa gun owners. Absolutely.
Oh, he works
Absolutely.
full time for Iowa gun owners.
Yeah, see, guys, if you think these guys aren't going to try and take away your gun rights, then that you guys are sadly mistaken. These people down here are pushing for it all. They want to take away your AR-15s. They want to take away your 30-round magazines. They want to have universal firearms registration, and they want you guys to be disarmed or as close to it as possible. That is the reality of gun control.
Fear.
Fear.
That is all you speak is a message
of fear. Who are you with?
I'm with myself. I'm a
That's fantastic.
photographer.
Okay.
But
message of fear. The concern is that we're going to disarm the good guys. Only bad guys are going to have firearms. That's the reality. That's the reality. I guess we've made the news back here, folks. Yeah, people are getting pretty upset, guys. The whole crowd is screaming at us right now because we're standing here telling people that gun control is a failed ideology that does nothing to stop violent crime.
And speaks guns that you're
We're not
about.
afraid. We're concerned about losing the right to defend our families.
Who needs an AR-15 to defend their family?
I do. Why do I want to limit my options?
How bad a shot are you?
Why do I want to limit the options that I have to defend ourselves?
I've got a cast iron skillet that'll drop all your bullets and smack your head right off if you come into my house.
Well, I'm happy for you. Everybody should have the right for self-defense.
Absolutely.
And that's the goal we want that our members have here in Iowa. We don't want to see our rights restricted.
For militia. Are you part of an armed militia?
The citizenry is that's what this is all about.
No.
Armed citizens need to have the option to defend their families and their loved ones. That's what the Second Amendment is all about.
Are you taking the position that the Constitution is a living, breathing thing, which is a very left wing?
Absolutely not. We want to have the protections that we have enshrined in our Second Amendment, and we are not going to support any gun control of any kind.
Then you're saying that the Constitution is framed in the actual time that it was built. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And if you're going to say we should have flintlocks, then I would say you should have a manual lever action printing press. Technology is protected by our rights, whatever the technology is. We're not going to say we support protections for black powder firearms. Absolutely. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That time, you just finished a revolution against the British Empire.
Absolutely.
And you also had armed militias that defended. So right now, you're saying, by your logic, if the Constitution is a static piece of document, that by having arms with the level of caliber of firepower that you want, you should be in a registered, well-regulated militia to have that.
Well, it means well-trained, well-armed. That's what gun owners are here in the state of Iowa.
Regulated.
And regulated meaning that we have the same options of self-defense that anybody else has. We're not going to support gun control. We're not going to back it. I'm sorry? He was an evil person. He was an evil person. He's an evil person. He did it himself. That's the whole point here. If you disarm the good guys, if you disarm the good guys, all you're going to have is more victims.
He works for them. He likely doesn't even believe
we support the Second Amendment 100%.
He has to say this.
Don't apologize for that at all. That's what's going on here, guys. They don't want.
United States.
Sure.
Enemies.
Absolutely.
Are you one of those?
Am I an enemy to you? To you? Is that what you're asking? Come on, this is absurd. Gun owners support freedom. Gun owners support the Second Amendment. Gun owners want to have the means of self-defense. That's all we're talking about, guys. This is the kind of stuff that's going on right now down here. I'm sorry. That's a great point. If we don't have armed people in schools, if we disarm, of course it's ridiculous. But if we don't arm teachers, if we don't give adults the option, if we don't have the option, how old is he? Probably better not. But why can't his teacher carry a firearm? Why can't his father carry a firearm when he's there at school? Why can't the custodians? Why can't the custodians carry? Why can't the good guys carry? All we're going to do with gun control is leave that young man defenseless. That's what happens. That's what happened in Parkland, Florida. 17 people died in Parkland, Florida because there was nobody. Absolutely, we agree with you on that. But teachers couldn't carry. Staff couldn't carry.
I'm a teacher. I don't want to carry, sir.
That's your prerogative.
I don't want anybody to carry in my classroom.
That's your prerogative.
Keep your dirty blood money out of my classroom.
Fair enough. But for those that want to support the Second Amendment, all right, guys, this is what's going on right now here in Des Moines. If you guys want to get involved in this fight, take a look at it. Take a look at it. Absolutely. This is what's going on here, folks. This is right now in Des Moines. You want to see the crowd? Check out the crowd.
Are not enough.
This is it.
Tell them we're coming to get them.
This is what's going on, guys.
We're coming to get you.
This is what's going on. They're coming to get us, they say. So you guys going to be involved in this fight? I know a lot of you guys already are, but we have to get more gun owners involved to help protect the rights that we have and to make sure these guys don't get leverage down here in Des Moines. That is the concern that we have when it comes to trying to protect our right to keep and bear arms. That is.
Quick question.
Yes,
Has
ma'am.
anyone ever shot at you?
What's that?
Has anyone ever shot at you?
As a matter of fact, they have, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you like that?
Not at all.
Okay.
But I was armed and had the option to fight back, and
Was
that
it
was
in
the
the
difference.
military?
What's that?
Was that in the
No, it
military
was
or
a
the
police officer. Absolutely. And that is the concern that you have when you disarm the law-abiding people. Who was left to fight for you? Who's going to protect you? Who's going to protect our kids? Who's going to protect our families? That's what happens when you disarm people, and you guys already all understand that. So, yeah, sure. Come on over here. Over here.
Iowa State Daily, I was just wondering, are you allowed to do interviews at all? We just wanted to ask you on your opinion on gun control.
Give me a few minutes. Now's a bad time. But,
Sure, okay.
Yeah, I'll be up there later on when this is about done. So that's fine. That's no problem. So guys, I'm going to kind of spin around here and show you guys some of the crowd that's going on here.
Let's hear it again for Addison. He's absolutely right that nothing is going to change unless we take action. And we're going to be giving you some action items in between each speaker. The first one is if you are not registered to vote, register to vote. We have registration tents in the row right behind you. So please register.
I guess it's a gun control course is the big push down here right now in Des Moines. What they're not talking about is the reality that gun control failed to stop the shooter in Maryland just on Tuesday. In Maryland, you already have a complete ban on the AR-15. You have a complete ban on mags over 10 rounds capacity. You have a complete firearms registration process in place right now in Maryland. Gun-free zones, all the gun control they're pushing for right here behind us in Des Moines, they already have, for example, in Maryland. And that shooter on Tuesday disregarded all of that, walked right into that school and began shooting people. And thankfully, he was stopped by an armed good guy. In this case, it was a school SRO who was there to protect and defend those students. But
You got a bullshit without the paper?
yeah, you want to hold my papers for me? I haven't held them all
I
day.
don't know what I want to do with your papers, buddy.
No problem. And that's the reality we have. We have all these situations right now where gun control fails every single time. Parkland, Florida, same thing. That shooter was made known to the FBI numerous times. That shooter walked into a gun-free zone. That shooter passed a federal background check. All of these things that they say are going to stop violent crime did nothing. Did nothing. What did stop a shooter in Maryland was a good guy with a gun. That's it. And guys, I don't know how many of you guys have an SRO or an armed officer following you around here in Iowa, following your family around here in Iowa. That's why we carry firearms. We need to have the ability to protect ourselves and our loved ones because nobody else is going to do it for us. If you guys agree with me, give me a thumbs up in the comment section there. We're going to pause here again for a moment. You guys see some of the crowd here behind us.
that the NRA is an outside organization.
You know that guns in the homes are more likely to wound the person that owns the gun or their loved ones than defend against a stranger?
If you believe the MSNBC talking points, that's fine. But the reality is that guns are used millions of times a year to defend people from violent crime. You guys don't understand that's just the way it is. We all know that. Guns are used millions of times a year, every year in this country, to defend and stop criminals from getting involved in attacking us. The language here, folks, is not quite what you'd expect. If you have kids watching, just be aware there's some people here who are a little bit on the wrong side here with this. The guys. You guys want to see some more of the crowd here? I'm seeing the comments.
And it's ignorant not to consider every single citizen in Iowa when making decisions, when keeping your ties with the NRA.
Do I have your sign seen? That's fine. Here.
And a direct message.
There you go, girls.
And David Young or any legislators that will listen.
Books, not bullets.
If you were to hear this and see this at all, I am up here telling you I do not feel safe.
We have students here behind us on the microphone right now saying they don't feel safe in schools here in Iowa. And of course, the students didn't feel safe in Maryland either last Tuesday when that shooter violated all the gun control laws that are already on the books in Maryland, came in there and opened fire in that school. What did stop him, what did save those children was what? Was it gun control? No, it was the armed school resource officer who was there to stop the violent shooter. He shot that individual and the shooting ended in Maryland. That's what stops violent criminals, is guns in the hands of well-meaning citizens who simply want to defend themselves and their loved ones from a violent criminal. This is what's going on. It's what you're not going to hear about from this rally here in Des Moines behind me. Kind of pause here for a moment again. Go ahead, girls. Good deal. Let's see. Dawn says, I don't feel safe in gun-free zones. Absolutely. Let me show you guys some of the crowd here again. I'm going to raise the camera. Hang on.
First-year medical student at Des Moines University. Before moving to Des Moines, Melissa lived in Parkland, Florida, where she grew up. She attended Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Melissa just visited her hometown over the spring break and was overwhelmed by the amount of support and emotion that
I'm with Iowa gun owners.
In South Florida.
That's right.
She is here to inspire us and give us insight on the effects of tragedy and how important it is to implement.
Yeah, guys, apparently down here, they're trying to compare crowd size right now. That's the whole point, guys. Gun owners are not down here today. We do have a lot of very mobilized anti-gunners who want to take away your freedoms, and you have to be aware of that. You want to take away our freedoms? Well, that's the truth, guys. That's what's happening right here in Des Moines. So you guys need to be aware of that. That's what's happening
stop killing
right
our
now.
Children. How about that? That's the kind of freedom.
How do you even respond to that?
Without having to worry about dying in a classroom shooting. That's
exactly. That's why the kids in Maryland were saved from a good guy with a firearm who ran in there and stopped that shooter.
A trained security officer, right?
Yeah, we want more guns in the hands of good guys. If parents want to have firearms, if teachers want to carry firearms, if good guys want to have firearms, we support that effort. Because when you take away the options from the good guys, all you have is coaches who, they rush into a shooter. You can talk in a normal voice. You don't have to scream. I'm right in front of you.
I don't know. It doesn't seem to get through your thick head.
Okay. But my point is that when you take away options from the good guys, all they have left. Yesterday in Pennsylvania, they announced they're going to put buckets of rocks in schools in Pennsylvania so that they can fight back with rocks. But we need to give the good guys a chance to fight back and help defend our children.
Aren't there better ways to assure safety than every man for himself? I mean,
we want more cops in schools.
Do we live in a Mad Max world where we all need to carry guns to feel safe?
We just can't tell when we're going to need it, when a violent crime's going to take place.
When a plane I'm on is going to crash. Do I bring a parachute onto a plane?
Well, why do you want to take away options from the good guys, though, here in Iowa? Okay. Well, I don't mean you. I just mean the ideology.
I grew up in a household with guns. I think that responsible gun ownership is possible.
That's right.
I bet a lot of people here, I've seen signs, responsible gun owners. What we want is we want it to be so that somebody can't walk into a gun store and then buy a gun and then give it to somebody else who uses it to shoot.
Well, that's already a crime.
Bad guys get guns illegally. Sure. You forget where those illegal guns come from.
But what you're describing is already a crime.
Gun laws.
Right, but it's called a straw sale, and that's already a crime. If I walk into a gun store and I buy a gun and I give it to you, that's a felony. That's already against the law.
Yes,
so that's not going to
traceability-
change.
Well, first of all, the laws vary a lot from state to state, but if there's no traceability...
Well, federally speaking, it's a crime. It's called a straw sale, and so if I buy a gun for you, put my name down, and I give it to you or sell it to you, that's a criminal action.
Right.
Federally speaking, that's already
now,
the case.
Let's imagine that gun that you went into the store and bought and gave to me had all the ballistics tested so that it was traceable to me to you. You had your name on a record, and you were held by law accountable if there was, say, murder with one of those guns.
Sure.
Okay. We moved here from Chicago, right? And there's a big problem in Chicago with people going
there's a big problem in Chicago
to Indiana, where there's no laws to speak of, there's no waiting periods, there's no regulation, and that's how a lot of the illegal guns that people buy on the black market get there. I mean, it's simple economics, right? If you restrict illegal guns, or if you make illegal guns more rare, more difficult to get, fewer people will buy them. Right?
What's that?
Fewer people will buy something if it costs more.
Right. That's the very problem. We don't want to make it harder for the good guys to have firearms. We don't want to make it harder.
It's not hard. It's not hard to take a test. It's not hard to wait 3 days. It's not hard to put myself on a central record.
Sure.
All this stuff can be done. We could trace the hell out of guns.
Here's the problem.
All guns could be traceable, and then we would have the ability to enforce the illegal sales of guns through black markets.
It's kind of I don't interrupt. Here's the problem we have right now is that you pass all that gun control that you want to, and it's not going to stop a criminal on the east side of Des Moines. It's not going to stop somebody who wants to commit a felony crime, a murder, a rape, a robbery. If they're willing to break the laws of murder, they're not going to register their firearms. They're not going to have them micro-stamped. They're not going to do any of those things. They're simply going to get a firearm. They're going to kill somebody, and that's what happens.
Any law is not going to stop everybody, but the problem, but the goal is to make it harder. If there are fewer guns in the black market, the price of a gun will be much higher. The ease with which people go to some guy on a street corner to buy them is going to be much more difficult. And then when they do fiddle around trying to get that gun, they're more likely to be caught because they don't know what they're doing. So if we can greatly reduce that black market by making all guns traceable, by making all gun transactions fully, recorded with licensing and with waiting periods, we can reduce the black market, and that is the problem. So yes, guys will always get guns, but they won't get them as easily.
Here's what I would say is that these are and this is nothing against you, but these talking points were the ones that were popular back in the 90s, and all the gun control in all these states that adopted this. You mentioned Chicago. I'm not going to bore you with the details of crime in Chicago. You're well aware of that.
Yep.
All the gun control in Chicago and all the states that have adopted those talking points did nothing. But however, let me finish. As constitutional carry sweeps across the country, which is no permits, no registration, no requirements, we're seeing crime rates go down. So the data is the data very clearly shows that putting more guns in the hands of the good guys and give them the option to fight back lowers crime rates. Constitutional carry has lower crime rates in states all across the country, as has shall issue legislation, which Iowa adopted in 2010.
Okay, so the difficulty with making statistical statements about guns is that there's not very good data, and it's really hard to separate causation from correlation.
I'm sorry, okay. It's the FBI crime. It's the FBI crime report that says these things. So it's not us. It's not the NRA.
I could point to
it's
you
the
that
FBI.
there are more gun deaths in places with guns, and you'll make some more nuanced arguments about causation and correlation if I do that.
All I'm saying
and the
is
reason, and you'd be right, because making a causative statement, I'm a scientist, making a causative statement from statistics is very difficult. The fact is, crime has been going down in this country across the board. Is that because
not
of
in
those
Chicago,
laws?
not in Maryland, not in New York, not in places that have all this gun control already in effect. The places where it's going down are the states where the good guys have more freedoms, more options, more ability to fight back and defend themselves. That's the reality of the numbers.
Again, when you're talking about Chicago,
we're having a moment of silence, guys. We're going to stop talking here for a moment. We're pausing here, guys, for a moment of silence.
Christopher Histon, age 49. Luke Foyer, age 15. Kara Loughran, age 14. Gina Montalto, age 14.
Watch yourself, buddy. I don't want to poke you. Sir.
Quinn Oliver, age 17. Elena Petty, age 14. Meadow Pollock, age 18. Helena Ramsey, age 17. Alexander Tucker, age 14. Carmen Sindrup, age 16.
We're pausing here, guys, for a moment of silence right now. They're asking for us to be quiet here for just a moment, so we're going to do that.
We hold each of these victims and their families in our hearts. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Ruben Schiffer. He is a math teacher and a soccer coach at Des Moines Lincoln High School.
All right, guys, that's what we got going on here right now in Des Moines again. What we're talking about here is that it's a rally taking place right now here in Des Moines on the west side of the Capitol steps. This is going on right now. This is live as I'm talking to you guys. We have a couple hundred people here from across the state who are out here trying to support gun control, who want to see the bans on AR-15s. They want to see a ban on 30-round magazines. They want to see universal firearms registration. And, of course, what they're not talking about is that this whole thing here today, as it was across the country, is funded in part by Michael Bloomberg, who spent millions of dollars to coordinate these events here in Des Moines and across the country, aided by a bunch of elitists from New York City who want to sit there. It's their press. It's his press conference. It's his press statement. It's online. Absolutely.
I'm not paid
Absolutely.
by anybody.
I didn't say you were. I said that the events are coordinated in part by Bloomberg money, and so that's what's going on here right now, guys. Be aware of this. So. I didn't say you did personally. You didn't get a gas card. That's fine.
I talked to those police officers over there. They're all well educated.
Sure.
I don't think we need them in the school. They're already educated.
You don't want to have cops in schools?
They're already educated.
You guys don't want to. You don't want to have an armed person at schools?
Schools are not prisons.
You guys don't want to have an armed officer in schools to defend?
23 policemen short in Des Moines alone. 23 short. It's been that way a long time.
You don't want to have a good guy, a cop with a gun in your schools.
Don't engage them. There's an actual
Guys, this is what's going on. They don't even want to have a police officer in their schools. In their schools. They did nothing. Because the cop in Maryland on Tuesday went in there and he shot and killed that guy. Exactly. That guy could have killed 20 more kids. Why do you want to take away options? Why do you want to take away options? So guys, listen to this. They don't want to have officers in schools. They don't want to put armed guys in schools. They want to leave your children defenseless. That's what's going on here right now. That's a concern. A lot of people here who are not using reality here right now. They want gun control. They want you disarmed. They want less dead people, they say. But when you ask about putting an officer in schools to defend your children, that's a big hell no here in Des Moines right now. That's what's going on here, guys. Check out some of the crowd.
Will it be my students staring down a barrel of an AR-15? Will it be me, or will it be my wife who's called upon to be the next teacher to step in front of?
Why does it work in other countries? Why can't it work here?
Have you seen how many acid attacks have happened in London in the last year because of their gun control? Get real, man. Read some real news. Absolutely. People have no firearms. They're using bombs. They're using trucks. They're using acid. This happens all the time. This happens all the time. And that's the problem. When you disarm the good guys, only the bad guys have firearms. That's the reality. That's how gun control works.
Why don't you go have your
That's
own
the concern.
route?
What's that? I didn't come and talk to everybody here. I'm just trying to talk to our membership. Everybody's coming here yelling at us. I'm not here. I'm not here. What's that? Where's your membership? We're with Iowa Gun Owners. Gun rights organization. Get the hell out of here.
If you want to be a good guy, sign up for the military, the armed forces, be a police officer.
Right. But these guys don't want cops in schools even. They don't want the good guys even in schools.
Who doesn't want cops in schools?
The whole crowd here's yelling at us when we asked about it. You don't want cops in schools?
No, I love cops in schools. That guy
That's
was a
great.
hero
Absolutely.
that saved those people.
Nobody here agreed
Well,
just a minute ago when I asked that question.
It's okay.
So that's the
How are
reality.
you asking it? How are you phrasing it?
We were just talking about it. Everybody yelled at us about it.
Well, not not everybody wants regulation.
Right.
Is against having cops.
But when you take away firearms from good guys, only the bad guys are going to have guns.
We disagree. Is that okay with you?
What's that?
We disagree with you. Is that okay
Absolutely.
with you?
That's fine.
Okay,
That's
fine.
fine.
I'm not shaking your hand. You're an idiot.
God damn you. All right. What's that? Yeah, and that was a joke. Right. It's the same as the gun-free zone. It didn't stop him. I can't see that. Is he your father? I just can't see his face. That's all. That's the problem. All these impediments, it didn't stop it. That's why you need to have firearms in the hands of teachers, custodians, staff, good guys with firearms.
On behalf of your teachers.
And he was stopped by a good guy, in this case a police officer with a firearm. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. When you put more guns in the hands of the law-abiding citizens, you have more options and more ability to fight back. That's what we're talking about. No rational arguments, they say. Sorry guys, that's not the I'm not sure how else you can talk to these people. Again, here's some of the crowd you have right now.
Arguments.
Let's hear it again for Leland Shipper. Now, one more action item you can take right now is to sign up for text message alerts about gun safety. You get out your cell phone, and you're going to text this to 30.
Different things. You're paid to be here. I don't care about
Safe Iowa. Text Safe Iowa to 30644. That will prompt you to sign our gun safety petition to stand with us for common sense gun reforms like universal background checks, banning bump stock.
There it is, guys. Universal background checks. They want it right now here in Des Moines. Universal background checks.
Loophole here in Iowa.
I'm not afraid I will.
Hi, Cynthia. Now's a bad time. Can you give me a few minutes? I'm live right now with our membership page. I'll be here for a while.
He's a senior. Robert is a senior at North High School. He serves on as a student member of the Iowa State Board of Education. He's the founder of North Core.
We good, guys?
Oh, no, you're fine.
All right, just want to make sure.
No, you're fine.
All right, good deal.
And also served as
Don't want to cause any problems.
Iowa co-delegate in the United States Senate Youth Program. On top of this, he's also been recognized.
So we're hearing about guys nonstop from the speaker here behind us. They want to have a whole host of gun control bills passed here in Iowa. They want to see universal firearms legislation. What that means, universal background checks, what that means is that if your grandfather, if your father was to give you a family firearm, an heirloom firearm, you had to go through a government check first, add your name to a government database, and have that firearm registered with the government. And if your grandpa, for example, doesn't do that, he would be a felon. That's the reality these laws are pushing down here in Des Moines. I don't know about you guys, but I got my first firearm training from my grandfather behind his grain bins on the family farm in Sioux County, Iowa, northwest Iowa. And my grandfather wanted to give me that 410 shotgun. That's what he did. And under the laws they're proposing right here, I'm sorry? That's exactly right. They don't want to stop with any one thing. They want to ban them all. And under what they're proposing here right now, that same idea of my grandpa giving me a firearm, and I'm sure many of yours did the same thing, that would be a felony here in Iowa. That would be a felony. And we cannot let that happen here in Iowa, guys. Of course, talk about they want to take away 30-round magazines as well as part of their standard 1990s era talking points. They want to take away the popular AR-15 and modern firearms that we all use and have for self-defense, for sporting purposes, and just because we can, because we are law-abiding citizens. They want to take them all. That's what's going on right now here in Des Moines, guys. This crowd here is absolutely unhinged. We asked them, are you okay with putting an officer in schools? And they scream no and hell no. They don't want to put cops in schools. They want to disarm you, and they say want to do it for the children. I don't know about you guys, but the best way to defend our children is to have more armed people that can protect them. That could be school resource officers, that could be teachers, that could be administrators, that could be janitors, whomever it is. That's how you defend yourself and defend our children, especially from violent criminals, especially in our schools. But they don't want to do that here in Des Moines. They want to disarm you, they want to kick the cops out of schools, and they want to leave you defenseless. That is the reality that they're pushing right now on the west steps here in the Capitol. Let me pause here again for a bit. Let you guys hear some of the comments here behind us. if you guys are going to stand up and fight this, give me a thumbs up in the comment section and take a moment to join IGO right now. If you're not already a member, we need you guys to be involved in this fight because these guys are not going away. They're not going to give up. They have the support of the media here in Iowa and across the state, and they're not going to give up. So we need to make sure that gun owners also don't give up and stay actively involved in this fight. Let me pause here for a moment again so you guys see some of the crowd.
Educate students and families about the risk of firearms.
And again, if you guys didn't catch this earlier, this whole thing across the country today is being funded in large part by Michael Bloomberg. And of course, nobody here believes me. Everybody got mad at me, but it's Everytown for Gun Safety's press release that they're spending millions of dollars today across the country to coordinate these events. Millions of dollars trying to, to pretend this is a grassroots organic movement. And some of them certainly are, make no mistake. But this is being coordinated by liberal elites, guys like Bloomberg, guys like George Clooney and Oprah. People gave millions of dollars to make these rallies happen. And you know what? They go to bed every night surrounded 24/7 by armed security. Everybody knows that. We know it. You know it. Bloomberg knows it. But their idea of what their worldview, that's what they think is most important. And they want you to follow that same idea of how much freedom you should have. If they want to have gun control in their personal lives, if they want to be disarmed, that's their prerogative. It's America. You're free to do that. My family and your family and our families shouldn't be disarmed simply because other people think that's the way it should be done. We have a Second Amendment right in this country, and we will not surrender any of that here in Iowa, and we should not surrender anywhere across the country. That's what's going on right now here in Des Moines, guys.
High-quality school safety plan mandates that don't come with the check.
I'm going to raise the tripod so you guys can see some of the crowd here in a minute.
No longer will we sit idly by while our state's quality of mental health is decreasing day by day. If you want to make such change, get out and vote in November. And let's make our public service actually work for us. Thank you, and let's march for gun control.
March for gun control, they're saying. Let's march for gun control. That's what they're trying to do here. They don't want reasonable restrictions. They want complete gun control here in Iowa. Their own press release. They want to take away modern firearms. They want to take away your magazines. They want to have universal firearms registration.
We can still stop the Dakota Access Pipeline in Iowa.
Thank you very much.
Flyer. We'd love to have you look into it. I know you're probably interested in justice issues.
Sure.
So boldiowa.com is the best place to
We'll check it out. Thank you very much. And that's the reality, guys. That's what we have to be fighting for, because here's the bottom line. Our grandparents and our forefathers gave us our Second Amendment rights, and they protected them for you and I. And now our children, our grandkids, are now counting on us to do the same thing and defend their right to defend themselves when it's their time. IGO has been relentless in this effort in the elections here in Iowa for years now. Of course, flipped the Iowa House in 2010. We flipped the Iowa Senate in 2016. That's how we passed the Stand Your Ground law in 2017. And we're not going to stop until we have constitutional carry law on the books here in Iowa as well. And you guys need to stay involved in this fight, because these guys are mobilizing, they're getting organized, and they're not going to go away. So be aware of that, and guys, get involved in this fight. Again, if you're not already a member of IGO, we have a link posted in this thread right now. You can join up in real time, become a member of IGO today. We sure appreciate that. Yes, ma'am. Come over here if you don't mind. Background checks don't stop crime. The shooter in Las Vegas went through a background check. Parkland, Florida, he went through a background check. The Fort Hood shooters went through a background check. The Navy Yard shootings. Perfect, thank you. All right. So you can't deal with these people. They don't want to listen to arguments. They don't want to listen to reason. They don't want to listen to reality. And I was stunned to find out that when we asked them, would you support putting more police officers in Iowa schools, they lost their minds. They don't want to put more cops in schools. They don't want to arm teachers. They don't want to arm administrators. They don't want to arm the good guys. They simply want to take away your right to defend yourself. That is the agenda here in Des Moines right now. You guys got to be aware of that. They're not going for some peripheral issues. They want to go after your right to defend yourself in its entirety here in Des Moines. Reading some of the comments here, Chris says brainwashed sheep. Some of them certainly have been acting that way. We can't disagree with that, Chris. We agree with that. Reading some of the comments here.
Nothing changed over the course of more than 6 years.
Sandy Hook should have never happened.
Talking about Sandy Hook right now. Of course, Sandy Hook is another failure of gun control. Sandy Hook was a gun-free zone. The school there is a gun-free zone. The shooter, Adam Lanza, he bypassed the gun control laws in Connecticut. He killed his mother, took family firearms, went into that school, and committed a mass homicide. So all the gun control that was in effect in Connecticut did nothing to stop the violent crime that took place in Sandy Hook. Every one of these examples we're talking about right now, are almost all of them are complete failures of gun control. We saw it in Parkland, Florida 6 weeks ago. You got gun-free zones. Didn't stop anybody. You've got federal background checks. Didn't stop anybody. This is the reality of gun control. All it does is disarm the good guys. It doesn't stop the bad guys. Jeff says, kudos to your patience. Well, I appreciate that, Jeff. It's a crazy day down here. This is the west steps of the Capitol right now here in Des Moines. We're live here in the Capitol. And guys, if you couldn't be here for us today, we need you guys to join up right away, become a member of IGO. Reading some of the comments. Is it snowing? Yeah, it's snowing rather profusely here right now. Reading some more of the comments here. Let's see here. I don't think you are patient. Well, Michelle, I'm not sure what else I can do. I'm not the one who's losing my mind here and shouting and cursing. So this is the reality right now. We have hundreds of people down here in Des Moines who are pushing to clamp down on your right to defend yourself.
Thanks for being out here.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
It's on the history of the Second Amendment.
I'll read it when I get a chance.
Yeah.
I'll read it when I get a chance.
Feel free to share it as well.
Okay, I got to read it first. But, Aaron Dorr.
Aaron Dorr, nice. 2 A's or an E?
2 A's.
All right, nice to meet you. I guess you're double A.
What's that? Double A. I like that.
All right, Aaron. Nice to meet you.
A lot of folks down here today, guys. So people say that I seem angry. Guys, do I seem angry to you? If I seem angry, give me a thumbs up, or I guess give me something. I don't think we're angry here at all. The concern here is that these guys want to go after our gun rights, and they're not going to stop. They want to disarm you and I. They want you and I to be defenseless against violent criminals. And all the shootings that we've seen here in the last 5 or 8 years have only shown that gun control is an utter and complete failure. Utter and complete failure. We've got a whole bunch of shootings in the last couple of years alone where the shooter went through a federal background check. That didn't stop him. The shooter was alerted to the FBI. That didn't stop anything. We've seen so many shootings where gun-free zones were in effect. Didn't stop anything. And that is the reality of gun control. It does not stop criminals. What it does is simply disarm you and I. It disarms our children in schools. It disarms you and I, in everyday life. And that is the reality of gun control. And again, the example out of Maryland from just this week on Tuesday, we're talking about a situation where Maryland already has an AR-15 ban. Maryland already has a ban on high-capacity magazines. Of course, that's what they call them. We call them standard capacity magazines. They already have gun-free zones. They already have a 7-day waiting period to buy handguns. I'm talking about Maryland right now. They have all this gun control right now in Maryland, and it's done nothing. It did not stop that shooter on Tuesday. What did stop that shooter was an armed officer who responded with a firearm, and he shot and killed that individual. He hit him or killed him. I'm not sure what happened if he took his own life, but either way, that officer's arrival on scene is what ended that shooting in Maryland just a couple of days ago. But nobody here wants to talk about that. Nobody here wants to deal with the reality that gun control over and over and over has been shown to be a failure. That gun control has been shown to only disarm the good guys. That gun control only endangers the good guys because criminals aren't going to stop because we have gun control. I'm trying to read some more of the comments here. Yeah, you guys want to see more of the signs you're saying. Let me show you guys some of the signs.
It is your strength, your determination, your courage, which will show our country the way to a safer and a hopeful future. Our country needs your leadership if we are to break the vicious cycle of violence.
Put my tripod back down. A lot of signs out here, guys. What we're not seeing is, and this is, maybe I haven't seen it, they could be here, maybe I just missed it, but we've got no American flags here. We don't see anybody here who's championing freedom. We don't see anybody here who is trying to defend the Constitution. What we see here is people who are begging to have their own freedoms taken away. who are begging to have their own rights taken away. This is absolutely crazy here down here right now, guys, and that's what's.
I'm not trying to get our freedoms taken away.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Austin Tweet.
You have a warm hand. Nice to meet you.
I have been a citizen of this country for longer than you have.
Absolutely.
I've been a citizen for 73 years almost.
Sure. Sure.
And I love this country dearly.
Absolutely.
And I am so opposed to what is going on as far as the guns are concerned. Please tell me, sir, what is it that why are you thinking that we're trying to take your freedoms away?
Well, our concern.
I'd like to answer that for you.
Sure. Now, our concern is that when you disarm the good guys, only bad guys have guns.
Who are the good guys who are disarming?
What's that?
Who are the good guys who are disarming?
Well, millions of Americans across the country who are law-abiding citizens.
I grew up in a small town in northern Minnesota. What do you think? What do you think a lot of people did up there?
Hunted fish.
Hunted
Absolutely.
fish, of course. Do you think anybody's trying to take away their guns so they can't hunt or fish? Absolutely not.
Well, it says in their press release they want to take away AR-15s. They want to take away. They want to take away magazines.
Do you know anyone who goes deer hunting with an AR-15?
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Who do you know?
Does anybody here hunt with an AR-15? Give me a. What's that?
Tell me. Who do you know that goes hunting?
All kinds of my friends hunt with AR-15s.
Hunt deer with AR-15s?
All kinds of friends hunt with AR-15s.
Then I don't know why they're hunting, because they certainly don't eat that meat then, because there's no meat left. Once you hunt with an AR-15, that deer is gone.
Okay.
It's
not just about hunting rights. It's about self-defense first and foremost.
Well, you just said hunting. Let's get.
Yeah, you asked about Minnesota, so up there it's common to hunt. But gun owners primarily own these firearms for self-defense. It's not about hunting deer, and it's not about.
When you do self-defense, sir, do you have to completely shatter a body and bodies? I mean, with an AR-15, do you have to have multiple shots? There is no reason. The only reason for AR-15s is to go after and do lots of shooting like that. You can protect yourself. Nobody's saying people don't have a right to protect themselves. Nobody's saying people don't have a right to.
Can I answer you?
Of course, it's your camera.
No, it's fine. I'm asking. The point is that if the bad guys have guns, we want to have them too. And if criminals,
well, sure,
and if somebody wants to come and kill my family, I want to have the most options that I can have to defend them.
You want to get out your AR-15
I want to have.
I want to have somebody who comes into your house.
If they want to kill my family, of course, I'm going to defend my family. Wouldn't you want me to defend my children? I've got 6 kids.
But I have no reason why you need to take out an AR-15.
Well, maybe I want a Glock with a 15-round magazine. They want to ban all these magazines here, and these are the things that Iowans use to defend themselves, defend their loved ones, defend their families. And we don't want to support that. That's why we're out here.
Okay, but I really react to your saying that people are here to want to take away our freedoms.
Okay.
You know, that is just really.
Well, when they want to take away firearms and accessories.
You know what I wish you would have been doing when you were here?
Yeah.
I wish instead of talking into your camera, you would have been listening to the people.
Oh, we have been. We had a lot of them come out. We had a lot of them come out here and surround us and want to talk. So we talked to a lot of them. We did.
Well, no, you're talking to a lot of them. You're not listening. Listening is much different from talking.
Well, I listen to you, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think you were waiting for your next comment today.
Well, I was trying to talk to you, have a conversation. You've been very civil, and I appreciate that. But our concern remains that when you disarm the good guys, that only the bad guys are the ones that have firearms.
For 73 years, and it hasn't done anything yet, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll disagree on that. So, what's that? Our members are desperately trying to stop this. Absolutely. So I'm trying to read some of the comments. Can you guys see, is the audio okay? The microphone is totally covered now with snow. So can you guys hear this? If you can, give me a thumbs up right now. I can't tell if the audio is working right now. It's getting pretty snowy down here in Des Moines. I'm reading some of the comments here. Yeah. Yeah, the comments here are great, guys. That's what's going on. They're talking about right now they want to raise the age. Some of them buying guns. They're saying right now behind me that they have to be 21 to buy alcohol, and they want to be 21 to own firearms. How many of that here are veterans? How many guys here on this page are veterans or are currently serving in the military? Can you imagine the idea of being able to serve your country with a firearm at the age of 18, 19, 20? You come home to Sioux City, you come home to Des Moines, Cedar Falls, Keokuk, anywhere. You come home, and now because you're 20 years old, you can't own a firearm. That is what they're talking about. It happened in Florida, of course, just in the last couple of weeks. Now we're disarming the very people that we have asked and entrusted to go and fight in our military all across the world. That is what's going on and being talked about in the audio right here behind me. So guys, be aware of that. They don't want to simply, deal with the periphery. They want to disarm you if you're 18, 19, 20. They want to take away the AR-15. They want to take away your magazines. They want to disarm you. And that's the reality here right now. If you guys don't like that and want to fight back, get involved with IGO today. Membership links are attached to this video, and we need you guys to get involved in this effort. It is going on right here live here in Des Moines. I'm going to pan the crowd again for just a minute. Yeah.
He's been involved with his school's Democrats Club and other forums.
Come on over here if you want to. Come on in front of the camera.
We do not want to disarm you. We want to keep the unstable away from guns so that I do not go to school on Monday and get shot and killed. I could die at any moment. I could be taking a math test, or I could be learning about Gandhi, and a shooter could come in and I could die. Anyone could die. Do you have a niece, a nephew,
Absolutely.
A kid?
Absolutely.
They could die.
Okay.
We don't want to disarm you. I've been around guns my entire life. I think they're pretty cool. I don't want to take them away. I want to make sure that they are in the right hands. I want you to understand that.
Well, I appreciate that.
The right hands of the right people.
I'll shake your hand. How about that for the right hand? You want to shake my hand? All right. That's fine. I just want to shake your hand. So I'm just reading some of the comments here. I'm not going to respond, to a child here, guys. But the reality is that what they're being told to say, what the talking points are from the anti-gun left right now, are that they want to have protection in schools, but they don't want to have officers in schools. They don't want to have teachers carrying firearms. They don't want to have more good guys with guns. Instead, they want to take away firearms from you and I. And when you take away guns from the good guys, only the bad guys have firearms. That is the reality of gun control. I think you guys probably agree with that. But that's what's being proposed right here in Des Moines. Again, this is live right now on the west steps of the Iowa Capitol. A big gun control march. The crowd here continues to grow. And guys, I've not seen a rally like this here in Des Moines for, I don't think in the 10 years I've been working for Iowa gun owners. This crowd now is getting mobilized, and they are going to be pushing for gun control. We need to be continue to fight back and to support our right to keep and bear arms, because they're not going to stop, and we can't. Too many people here behind me, and we can't either. So be careful with that, guys. That's what's going on right here in Des Moines. You want to have your sign seen? Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it? Absolutely.
Good job.
Absolutely. Go ahead. You can show yours.
Come sit.
There you go.
Nice work.
There you go. Of course, guys, as you guys know, the Des Moines City School District just I think it was Wednesday, passed a resolution calling for a whole host of gun control here in Iowa. They've asked to have a ban on the AR-15. They've asked to have for a whole bunch of gun control to be pushed here in the state capitol. And so if these students have been given talking points, but then we're not sure. But we have a lot of teachers, administrators in the school board here in Des Moines in particular, who are trying to advance their agenda and using these kids to help do that. So if you have kids in the school system, be talking to them. Take them out to a shooting range, maybe not today when it's snowing and the weather is so crappy down here. Take them out to a range. Get them involved in shooting sports. Let them have a chance to know what we're talking about and not just listen to the talking points they're hearing from their teachers and that kind of thing in school. Can I talk to you? Can I help you out? Oh, you want an interview? You got an open ticket there, dude. So,
oh, I do?
Yeah, just want to give you.
Yeah. Is there any chance we can just do a couple questions to give you a chance to?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Thank you so much. It's kind of embarrassing.
That's why I told you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Just come stay over here, and so we got both cameras going at the same time. Aaron Dorr with Iowa.
Aaron Dorr. Hi, I'm Ben Swanich with the Iowa State Daily.
Iowa State Daily. Fantastic.
Aaron Dorr, you said?
Yep.
You ready? Hi, we're with Aaron Dorr here in Des Moines. Aaron,
interviewing guys. Just give me 1 second.
I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about gun control.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on gun control in America today? Do you think they're too restrictive or they're perfect right now how they are?
I think it's pretty obvious when you disarm good guys, only bad guys have firearms. We saw 2 shootings in the last couple of 6 weeks in this country. One in Maryland, just on Tuesday, which is a gun control haven. All kinds of gun control. They got bans on modern firearms. They have waiting periods, bans on magazines. And that shooter wasn't stopped by. He wasn't stopped by. Who he was stopped by was an armed officer who was on the site, got in there and shot and killed an individual. And so that's one case where gun control has been proven to be a failure. Didn't stop the shooting in Maryland. The one in Parkland, Florida is another example of this. He passed a federal background check, didn't stop him. He was notified to the FBI, that didn't stop him. He went to a gun-free zone. That also did not stop him. And so what we know is that when you disarm good guys, only bad guys have guns. So we oppose any attempt to pass more gun control here in Iowa.
So do you believe, I spoke with another lady earlier, she said that the Second Amendment should be completely abolished. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's what I'm saying. We're going to fight to protect the Second Amendment, to protect our gun rights, and to make sure we don't lose the freedoms that we have. Because again, when we lose our right to defend ourselves, that's it. We can't. How do we defend our families? How do we defend our loved ones? That's what we see happening all the time. These mass attacks is that all the gun control laws already on the books haven't stopped these shootings, and they're not going to. What does stop them is armed officers, as is the case in Maryland on Tuesday. Armed teachers potentially, armed parents, armed custodians. We want more guns in the hands of the good guys to defend our children.
So you said that would be the overall solution, is arming our teachers and our police officers?
When it comes, cops already have guns, of course. So when it comes to schools, sure, putting more guns in the hands of the good guys and giving them the option to carry would certainly be a great first step. But talking to some of the crowd here today, we asked them about, do you want to have more cops in schools? They say no, and pardon my language, but hell no. We want more good guys to defend our children. We're tired of seeing coaches, teachers, great people who die trying to stop a madman with a gun with their bare hands. If they had the option to defend themselves, defend our children, that'd be much better, obviously. I think we probably all agree with that.
You said, one last question, you said there is the choice to choose if they'd like to carry a gun. Let's say if that law is passed. What if perhaps an entire school and their teachers say they don't want to carry a gun and none of the teachers have a gun? Is there an alternative solution that maybe we could find?
Yeah, armed officers is always a great option here. And putting cops in schools, that's a fantastic approach for stopping gun crime in schools.
Sure, thank you very much.
You bet, thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
I actually have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Quick.
No, that's fine, go ahead.
Are you an independent individual? You're working for a given organization?
Yeah, I'm with Iowa Gun Owners.
You're with Iowa Gun Owners.
Yep.
Okay. I was wondering, why do you think this is resonating with students? Right?
Sure.
Would you get that? Do you think there's a specific reason why? Is there is this something that just has to do with the younger people are generally more?
We have a couple hundred kids here who are supporting this, but a lot of young kids also across the state who are on our page right now absolutely oppose gun control. They know that gun control, hasn't stopped violent crime, and so certainly some young people support it. Some people don't support it. That's just kind of life, I guess.
Right. So do you think that the protests?
What's that?
Do you think that the protests are generally over covered in media, or do you think that it's just a large, what reasons do you think that people are so attracted to this sort of protest? Because I know that people who were my age, probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I doubt that they would have gone out and done this. Or I know lots of friends. I have lots of friends that age, and they said that they never would have. I don't remember seeing that in the news. I might be wrong. But, so why do you think that this specific sort of batch of teenagers is especially interesting?
I guess there's no real definitive answer on why these kids care more than other kids do. But I know that, for example, these rallies are being coordinated and funded by Michael Bloomberg's organization, who is spending millions of dollars. This is their press conference, this is their press statement. They're paying for buses, they're paying for coordination. So we're not sure, what the individual reasons are. What we know is that our members and young people all across the state who grew up around firearms, who are part of gun-owning households, know that when you take away guns from good guys, only the bad guys have firearms. And they're concerned about that. They don't want to see that happen. We want to have more cops in schools. We want to see more good guys that have firearms, because that's how you can defend violent crime.
So do you think that so I heard that you're for arming teachers in public schools.
Yeah, we support anybody who's a law-abiding citizen, which would include teachers, to have the option to carry in schools. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you think that would be? Do you think that would be taken well by teachers and by students?
Well, that's the point. It's an optional thing. So if a teacher wants a firearm, they can carry. If a custodian wants a firearm, he can get a firearm to carry. We're not saying a teacher has to carry a firearm at all. All we're saying is that good guys or gals that want to have a firearm in schools should have the option to be able to defend themselves and their children.
Right. And is that an older argument than when the Trump administration started? Because when Donald Trump and his administration started mentioning that, right, and the Republican Party generally started mentioning the concept of arming teachers, that was the first that I had heard of it. But do you, as an individual in the organization?
No, gun owners have always known and held that putting more guns in the hands of good people will stop violent crime. When you disarm good people, only criminals are going to have firearms. That's not a new concept, no.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay.
guns
Sure.
in schools thing. You know, we put
Just come on over. You want to stand here and join me on the camera?
And when we put school resource officers in schools,
Yep.
that disproportionately created a school-to-prison pipeline for students of color. How do you think that putting guns in schools won't create a school-to-graveyard pipeline for those same students?
A school to graveyard pipeline by putting in armed officers in schools?
The same argument can. There's data. There's decades of data. There's decades of data that show when you put school resource officers into schools,
Before I introduce our
students
next
of color
speaker,
disproportionately
thank you to
leave
someone
school
who's been on
systems
this
and
stage
end
the
up in
entire
prison.
time, but has not
It's
been
documented.
Okay, so you're not saying that the cops are racists who are trying to put kids. I'm just trying to get your question. I'm sorry. Okay.
The question is, how if decades of research show us that there's a school-to-prison pipeline when you put cops in schools, there won't also be a school-to-graveyard pipeline.
I mean, what can I tell you? On Tuesday, you have an officer in Maryland who stopped that shooting.
Don't use an N of one.
Why do you?
Nowhere.
We have. The reality is, we have shootings.
N of one does not do anything to combat 10 years of research that shows that when you put cops in schools, it disproportionately impacts students.
We may not be able to disagree. We want more good guys, including cops in schools with firearms to defend our children. That's just the bottom line. I'm not sure how else to answer your question. We've seen so many school shootings where the good guys.
To answer my question.
Sure. We've got Sandy Hook, 28 dead in Sandy Hook. We have Las Vegas, 58 dead in Las Vegas. All these mass shootings taking place where the good guys can't have firearms. They're gun-free zones. They can't carry there.
Yeah.
You've disarmed them.
So now
Our
you
policies
have
have disarmed them. All these shootings.
That's going to be your argument.
All these shootings happen in gun-free zones where good guys can't fight back. All right. Yeah. Do you not want good guys to stop bad guys?
It's not the Wild West.
Well, I asked the crowd a moment ago if they wanted to have officers in schools right here in Des Moines, and they freaked out about it. What does gun control? What does sensible gun control mean to you? They said they want to. I heard them. I heard them. They want to ban AR-15s. We oppose that. They want to have universal firearms registration. We oppose that. You want to take away 30-round magazines. We oppose that because you guys can't see them. They're all behind the camera right now. But here's the reality, guys. Maryland. Can I?
Want to ban high-capacity magazines. They're NRA members.
Okay.
Because they're sensible.
Okay, well, we reject that idea that gun control is going to make anybody safer. You mentioned the...
Are you ready for some common sense compromise? And what I'm getting is no, you're not.
If you want to take away our freedoms, no, we're not going to support that.
Compromise you're offering. Tell me what it is. Teachers, that's it.
Do you not support armed teachers in schools?
I said all of the above.
Well, exactly.
I'm not going to reject anything.
Okay.
Everything we can.
We agree with arming teachers as parents, administrators, custodians, anybody who can defend our children. We should not be disarming them. What more do you want? You're not going to stop bad guys with a hope and a prayer. You have to have What more do you want? All I hear is you want to take away guns and accessories. We're not going to support that. Okay. All right.
Are they really going to be?
You guys still hear the audio? The camera's kind of getting fogged over here. Let me show you guys. You can show it. That's fine. I'll block it.
Right. They're not behind you.
Good deal. All right. I'm going to raise the camera up here, guys. You can see the crowd.
Pissed off, right? Angry. When did that?
Oh yeah. All the time.
Exactly. But for so many people around our country, and especially in my hometown,
Trying to clean up our lens here, guys. It's getting kind of dirty. Is that any better for you guys?
quite frankly, that's the stuff he gets paid for.
There we go. Hopefully that works better for you guys. Can you guys see that all right? All right, good deal. Guys, this is the reality right now here in Des Moines. We got hundreds and hundreds of people.
Can I just give you a hug?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a hug. I appreciate that.
I'll pray for you.
Thank you very much. We'll pray for you too. Takes all kinds down here in Des Moines right now, guys. It takes all kinds. But they're not, their idea of making a deal, their idea of a compromise. You just heard me asking this guy here a moment ago. Their idea of a compromise is taking away modern firearms, AR-15s and their clones. Their idea of a compromise is taking away magazines over 10 rounds capacity. Their idea is complete firearms registration. This is their idea of compromise. This is their idea of making a deal. And guys, we cannot give in to any of this, because the minute you give these guys an inch, they clearly will be taking a mile. We know that. They've made it clear. This is not some minor attempt to deal with guns on the periphery. They want to go after them. They want to take many of them from you right now, the ones you can legally own right now. That's what's going on here in Des Moines. I'm going to give you guys some of the crowd here a little bit. We're going to wrap up here in a few minutes. It's starting to get kind of cold out here, guys, and I think the crowd's getting ready to dissipate. We're going to be leaving here before too terrible long. Larry says another way to divide the country. That's what's going on here right now. Bloomberg and his money is being used to help coordinate these efforts in our schools right now, and that is what's going on. So again, if you haven't already heard this, guys, if you have kids who are in the school system here anywhere in this country, especially here in Des Moines, take time to talk to them this weekend. Talk to them about the Second Amendment. Talk to them about personal responsibility. Talk to them about freedom. Talk to them about what happens when you disarm the population. Have them read a history book from the 20th century about what happens when civilizations are disarmed. Let them know the truth about this issue, because they're not hearing it right now in these rallies here behind me. They're not hearing it in the schools here right now, especially here in the Des Moines Metro, which passed this resolution calling for gun control in the last couple of days. And guys, make sure that they know the truth. Make them understand, or make sure they know that this is not the reality of this issue. Guys, I'm reading some of the comments. Are coming in so fast here. Crowd of lost souls, Perry says. Some of them are certainly acting like that. It's crazy out here. And again, guys, if you're not yet a member of IGO, make sure and join up. IGO is fighting the front line, trying to hold back this issue here in Des Moines, and to make sure that we have the resources we need for the elections in 2018 to expose gun grabbers and hold people accountable, so that we can protect our right to protect ourselves. So join up with IGO if you haven't already done so. We could use your guys' support right now. I'm going to pause here again so you guys see some of the signs, getting some more questions on seeing the crowd. We'll show you guys some of this right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I want to remind you that one of the actions that you can take is how you use your money. And so there are corporations that have taken their money away from the NRA.
Oh, I'm on camera right now, so I can't stop right now, but if you want to wait, I can talk to you in a few minutes, that's fine. Or you can stand right there and talk, that's fine.
Smart way to support
that's fine. We can be very casual, that's fine. If you want to stand here and talk to me right now, that's fine.
And all of those things. There's lots of information on the...
You can stand right there. That's fine. You don't have to be on camera.
Find out what those corporations are.
All right, it's going to be a bit, just so you know. So.
Smart way that supports gun control issues.
Okay, reading some more of the comments here. The second protects the first. We agree with that 100%. Yeah, a lot of people watch this video. A lot of guys that need to make sure, take a moment and share this video, guys, because a lot of gun owners in the state right now assume that everything is on Easy Street right now in Iowa and in Washington, D.C., but guys, that's not the case. Of course, just yesterday, President Trump signed into law, the Fix NICS Act, which of course is a Dianne Feinstein gun registry that was signed into law in Washington, D.C. just in the last couple of days. All too often, a lot of times we have good guys that kind of sit back when our guy is in the White House, and they kind of assume that things are going to be okay. And that's not the case. We need gun owners to stay actively involved in this fight and fight to defend your freedoms and fight to defend the Second Amendment here in Iowa. And of course, being involved with IGO is part of that. I'm seeing some of the comments about the cops who are guarding this event. A lot of good officers here. They've been kind of keeping an eye on me for the last hour or so, and I appreciate that. The crowd got a little bit chaotic there for a little bit. So, and that's the point, whether it's armed officers, whether it's armed citizens, armed mothers, armed fathers, these are the people who can stop violent crime. That's what stops violent crime. You can't stop it with gun control. You can't stop it with a hope and a prayer. You can stop violent crime by having the means of self-defense readily available. And if we give up on those freedoms, if we give up on those rights, we're not going to have the option to defend ourselves. We will not give an inch with Iowa gun owners. We will not support any gun control with Iowa gun owners. We will not make deals with lawmakers who will. And we will always expose anti-gun legislators at election time in their districts so that everybody knows where these candidates stand. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up in the comments section. And again, if you haven't yet joined IGO, make sure and do that today, because we need your aggressive involvement in this fight. These people down here are active, and we have to be no less active when it comes to fighting to protect our freedoms.
But you gotta help do that. And I say that because gun violence isn't going to stop tomorrow. I know we want it to. I see the signs that says not. But real conversation means that...
I'm not sure who's talking right now. I think they may have said Representative Aiko Abdul Samad. I'm not sure. I can't quite see the podium, but I thought they said Aiko Abdul Samad, representative from the east side of Des Moines. If it is Representative Aiko Abdul Samad, he is a lawmaker who is constantly trying to push more gun control in the Capitol, trying to push a ban on magazines over 10 rounds of ammunition. He's trying to make it a crime to transfer a firearm, even amongst immediate family and friends, without getting government permission and adding your name to a government database. This is what their idea of compromise is. It's not a compromise. They want to go after our fundamental freedoms, guys, and they're not backing down. You can hear them here behind me. They're not backing down, and we can't either, guys. We need you guys to be involved in this. I'm going to pan the crowd here for a moment, kind of walk around and change locations. You guys keep an eye on this for 1 second.
Stand up and make it happen. That's when we come together. And if you add this hand and this hand together and you embrace one another, there's nothing can stop it. There's nothing can stop you. You become the power to make it happen. As I leave, let me tell you something. I didn't just get off a Greyhound.
Yeah, Mike says not the gun, it's the person behind the gun that's the problem. We agree with that. Jamie says, what happened to the Iowa I grew up in? Well, it's not lost yet, but we have to fight to defend it, Jamie. We have to make sure and fight to protect it.
By another young man who decided he could pick up a gun. My son took the gun away from him the night before, and before 24 hours passed, he was able to pick up.
Can you guys see him down there?
I don't want to be able to come.
It is Representative Aiko Abdul Samad who is talking right now, folks. You probably can't see him right now, but Representative Aiko Abdul Samad, before he became a lawmaker here in Des Moines, Representative Samad was a member of the Black Panthers, and that's not our narrative. That's on his website. His criminal history is well established here in Des Moines. So these are the kind of people who want to tell you how to live your lives. They're being financed by Bloomberg and his billions. They're being led by folks like Representative Aiko Abdul Samad, a former Black Panther, and they don't want to compromise. They don't want to make any deals. They want to take away many of our firearms. Be aware of that. Let's see here. Anthony Bouchard says their speaker sounds like Al Sharpton. Well, he's Iowa's version, perhaps. That's kind of that's who Representative Samad is, and he's always sponsoring gun control here in the State House, where I'm standing right now on the west steps. So, guys, any more questions you have, post them right now. I'm probably going to sign off here, and before the crowd leaves here, I'm probably going to take off myself. It is a major fight brewing right here in Des Moines when it comes to your right to keep and bear arms. That is the bottom line here in Des Moines. Hundreds of people out here for the first time. I think in my 10 years of fighting for gun rights in Des Moines, hundreds of people here rallying, not for any other issue other than to have you disarmed. They're fighting to have their own rights taken away. This is absolutely absurd. They're fighting to have their own rights taken away. They're fighting to have themselves disarmed, and they don't want to have cops in schools. They don't want to have good guys with guns in schools. They simply want to have themselves disarmed, and we absolutely reject that. We know that it will never stop violent crime, and so on behalf of IGO, guys, thank you for being involved in this fight. If you're not yet a member, again, the links are all through our comment section. Be sure and like this video. Be sure and join Iowa Gun Owners, and share this video with your friends and family all across the state. They have to know what's going on and where this fight is right now in Des Moines. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.